वेलकम यू गाइस टू एआई की पाठशाला। एआई की पाठशाला आपकी अपनी पाठशाला है। सो वॉट एवर सेशन आई एम कंडक्टिंग हियर, इट्स एब्सोल्युटली फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट. Any of one of you who wants to join my live session free of cost, you can go to the description section of the video and join my Telegram group from the link attached there. So because I post my live session joining link in the Telegram group only, so that you can get the link from there. So right now we are discussing advanced Pythons and advanced Python, and we already have covered 4 sessions in the advanced series of Python, and this is the fifth session, and it will be a continuation of my last session. So those of you who are watching the recorded session and facing difficulty in understanding, I request you to go and follow my complete playlist from the very beginning, so that you will step by step you will understand each and every concept, and thereafter you will not face any difficulty in understanding any advanced concept. So there is also a basics of Python playlist, and this is a advanced Python we are going through. So let me share my screen first. So I'm going to share you my screen first, and let's open the VS Code. Let me open a VS Code. So this is the VS Code. So we have opened a VS Code. Fine. Can any one of you tell me what is the last thing that we have discussed in the last session? Any one of you, if you remember a little bit? Fine. Not an issue. So people, guys, I request all of you to keep revising the things, because if you will not revise, it will be difficult for you to understand the advanced thing. So now let's understand what is the next thing. I am going to write I was discussing the objects and the class and the objects and the init function inside the class, the self parameter, and all those things I have discussed in the last session. So in this session, I'm going to take one problem of the fraction class. I will define one fraction class, and from the fraction class, we will try to learn a lot of things from it. So you guys keep typing along with me, so that you will not face any difficulty in understanding the things. And let's write this is a fraction class. This is a fraction class, F-R-A-C-T-I-O-N, fraction class. So let's write CLAWS class, and thereafter I am writing this fraction, F-R-A-C-T-I-O-N, fraction. So I'm creating one class, and the name of that class is fraction class. Fine. Now, inside this fraction class, as you already know, we cannot leave a class blank. You have to give something inside the class. And if, let's say, you are not sure about what you need to write inside the body of the class, so you can simply write pass, and you can come back later and write whatever things you want to write. This is because pass gives up this privilege of leaving the class blank and come back later, and you can modify it. So let's say here I am writing pass here. Why I am writing pass, I will tell you. And now let's run this thing. So now I have run this class, fraction class, and this has ran. Now I want to, what is my purpose? See, my purpose is I want to create a fraction. That's why I wanted to write a fraction class. That means I want to, the object of the class which I will pass the numerator, and I want to pass the numerator and denominator to the object, and I should get the fraction. Let's say if I am creating a object of, let's say, a fraction class, let's say the object F1, I am creating the object of any fraction class. F1 is my object, and if I shall pass the numerator value and the denominator value inside my object class, inside my object, I shall get the value 2 by 3 or whatever value I will pass as my numerator or denominator that I shall get. So this is my purpose. Let's understand this with the help of this. Let me, what I want, let's say this is a fraction. Let's say there is one class called fraction class, and let's say I want to create the object of that class. Let's say F is my object of this class, fraction class, FRACTION, fraction class. And if I pass simply some value of numerator, and let's say I am passing this 2 and this 3. So what I expect, I want to print, I want to see the value in the form 2 by 3. This thing I want. This is my purpose, where 2 is a numerator, this is numerator, we know, and 3 is denominator. So I want to create a class. So how I will do it? First, I will create a class. Thereafter, inside that class, I have to write one method, and in that method, I will print this fraction. So let's understand this with the help of a code, actual code, how we can achieve this. See, let me first write the fraction class. CLASS class, and this is a fraction class. Earlier I have written only pass because I was not sure what to write. So first thing that I should need to define inside any class is the init function. Why I need to define the init function inside the class? Because whatever the attribute, whatever the object attribute that I want to define inside my class, I will have to pass that attribute inside the init function. That's why the init function is required. Now let's say this is the init self underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and def underscore underscore init underscore underscores, and self is the default parameter that it shall take. Thereafter, I want numerator also, and I want denominator also. So this is the thing. Fine. Now, after inside this, I have to write, we have already learned this, self dot num, num, and thereafter whatever num value I want to write, and this self dot de and denominator is equal to denominator. So now my init work has been completed. So here, let's say I have not given any, this is a numerator parameter and this is a denominator parameter. Oh, here it should, num should come. Here, instead of this num, you can also pass a default value to this num and default value to this denominator. If let's say in case when you are calling when you are creating an object of this class and you do not want to pass any value of numerator and denominator, so whatever be the default value here in the numerator and denominator, that it will take. So let me pass some default value of the numerator. Let's say I am passing numerator is equal to 0. Let's say let's not pass the default value of numerator right now. I will take that thing later. So, and what I want, I will take this in the next question. First, let's do one thing. Let's say this is a init function and I am only passing inside this init function, I am only passing this self only. And here the default value I am passing here as, let's say, 0, and default value I am passing here, let's say, 1. This is my fraction class, let's say. And let's run this first. Now, this class has been created. Let's create the object of this class. So this is the object of this class, fraction class. This is the object. And let's don't pass any argument inside it. I am not passing any argument inside it. And let's run this. And now let's check what are the attributes inside this object F. So what I will do to check the attribute inside this object? Ruchi, tell me please. Ruchi?
Yes.
What I will do to check what is the attribute inside this object? What I shall write here?
I don't remember.
Can you remember now?
Yeah.
So
F underscore dick underscore.
you have already told me this answer yesterday, day before yesterday. So you should revise. You must revise. That it simply means you are not revising. Okay. Things that you already have told me earlier, you have forgotten. That means you need to revise simply. So let's check this. Can you see?
Yes.
What I am getting the attribute? Numerator 0 and denominator 1. Here I have not defined any other thing here. I have simply defined this self, and self.num, I am passing this 0. That means the numerator value is 0 and denominator value is 1. This is the default value I am passing here. So this is one way to set the attribute of any fraction. Now, in this second case, this is my first case. Now I am going a little further in the same class from this class. Now this time, instead of setting this default value to 0 and num, let's do one thing. Let's set some value as, let's write here, instead of 0, it writes num. That is, what is the num value, and instead of this, let's write 10 here. And here also, inside this self, write num as argument and den. Fine. So this is what I need to write. Now, what I want to just run I want to create this class, function class, and inside this function class, I have defined one init function with numerator and denominator as an argument. And here I have written self.num is equal to num, self.den is equal to den. Let's run this class. After this, what you need to do? What you need to do? Tell me, Ruchi. When you create a class, after creating class, what you need to do? You have to create the object of the class.
Yes.
So what you will do? You will create an object of the class. So I am creating the object of this class. My object is fraction. Let's take fraction is my class and f is my object. And let's create the object of this class. Now see, if I am creating the object of this class, I am getting this type error. And what is this error? Missing two required positional arguments, num and det. See, at the time of class creation, inside this init function, I have passed two attributes, num and then two attributes I have passed inside this init function. So when I try to uh, create the object of this class, at the time of creation of the object of this class, I need to pass those two arguments inside the class. Otherwise, if I will not pass, this will give me an error. The same error is coming here. Fraction class as missing two required positional arguments, num and den. So, how to resolve this issue? Simply, I need to pass two argument here, that is the numerator and denominator. Let's take numerator as 2 and let's take denominator as 3. Now, if I will run this object, I will not get any error, because this time I am not doing anything wrong. I have given this num and den, and I am passing these two things, and self is the default thing that it is taking. Fine. Now, if you want to see what are the attributes inside this object f that I have just now created, what you can do? Simply f dot underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. If you check, you will see the numerator that you have, the argument that you have supplied here, the value of the argument that you have supplied here, numerator 2 and denominator 3, that you are getting here. This numerator and numerator value is 2 and denominator value is 3. So this is how you will check the attribute of the object inside this class. Now, this was one thing. Now, I am making a slight change in this class. The class which I have just not defined here, I am making just a little bit changes here, and see what happens. See, this is the class. Now, inside this parameter, init parameter, in the num value, I am assigning 0 to the num value, numerator value, and I am defining, let's say, 1 as my denominator value. So this is the thing that I am changing here. Now, I am running the same class again, and I am creating the same object again, which I have created earlier. Same object I am creating here also. Fine. Now, if let's say you will run this class, you will not, everything is fine. And let's check what is present inside this. What is present inside this object? What are the attributes that is present inside this object? So if you will run it, you will get the same value which you are getting earlier, num2 den 3. So what is the purpose of assigning it num is equal to 0 and den is equal to 1? Let's clarify this thing. What is the purpose of this thing? Simple thing is that let's create some another class here. Let's create one different class and write the name. Let's write name as, let's say, f2. And this time, this is my fraction class. When I'm creating this object f here, I'm supplying the two arguments, numerator and denominator, inside this. You can understand I'm telling you from the first thing so that you can understand the flow. See here. Here, what is happening? I have created this fraction class and I have supplied this numerator and denominator. So, whenever I am creating this object of this class, it is mandatory to give him the two arguments that I have defined inside it, inside the init class. Otherwise, it will throw me an error. In the second case, what I have done now, I have defined this argument numerator and denominator, and I have also assigned a default value to this numerator, that is 0, and this denominator 1. And I have created this object f from this fraction class, and I have given the value 2, 3. And when I am checking what is the attributes inside this object, I am getting the same thing that I have supplied here. But if you will create, let's say I am creating one another object called f2 from the same class, this fraction class, and I am not giving any argument inside it. So what happens? I am still not getting any error. Why I am not getting any error? Because at the time of class creation inside this init function, I have given default value of numerator and denominator. It means whenever I am not supplying any value from my side as an argument, it will automatically take the default value. That is the value 0 and 1. It will take default value of 0, default value of numerator as 0, and default value of denominator as 1. That's why I am not getting any error here. If you simply want to check what are the attributes inside this object f2, you can check it. And you will see here, since I have not supplied any argument inside this f2, inside this object, when I am creating this object f2, it is taking the default argument numerator 0 and denominator 1, which is present at the time of init creation, at the time of class creation inside this init. Is everything fine here till here? Can I get a quick yes or no? Can I get a quick yes or no?
I didn't get the second part of it. F2 is equal to fraction parenthesis. Why this one is taking the value 0 and 1?
That's what I was explaining you. See, here when I am creating this fraction class, at the time of creation of this fraction class inside this init function, what I am giving, I am supplying a default value of numerator as 0. I am writing num is equal to 0 and d and denominator is equal to 1. So, and I have created this class. So, when I am creating an object of this class and I am supplying the value of numerator 2, 3, it is taking this value 2, 3. That's what it is. That's what when I'm checking the attribute here, I am getting numerator 2, denominator 1. But here in f2, this object at the time of f2, this f2 creation, f2 object creation, I am not giving any value, I am not supplying any argument here. Since I am not supplying any argument here, so it is taking the default argument. Numerator is equal to 0 and denominator is equal to 1, which I have given at the time of init creation or class creation. That's why it is taking numerator is equal to 0, denominator is equal to 1. Do you get it now? Hello?
But why they're taking 0 and 1? Default value.
Yeah, this is a default value, na? I have supplied a numerator. Why I am giving numerator is equal to 1? Tell me. And dn is equal to 1. Tell me, please.
To form a fraction.
Huh?
To form a fraction.
To form a fraction. But why this value I am giving? See, that's why I was explaining you this thing in a sequence. Here I have not given any default value, na? Since here I have not given any default value. But here can you see this class? Inside this class, I have not given any default value. So you are not getting any default value. When you are hey, this is the same class. Only the difference between this thing and this class is that here I have given a default value and here I have not given any default value. Since I have not
Okay.
given any default value and I want to create a object of this class without supplying any numerator or denominator, I am getting an error because I need to give it a numerator or denominator. But here I have assigned a numerator some value and denominator some value. So what is happening? If I am not giving any argument here, it is taking this argument numerator is equal to 0, denominator is equal to 1 as a default argument. Can you get it now?
Okay, got it.
And this thing is happening simply because you guys are not revising, because these things it takes time to understand. Actually, this is a concept is a very small, this is not a big thing, but when you will not revise your previous sessions, then then you will get problem in understanding the next session. So please try to revise it. So now we are moving ahead. So this is one concept that you guys have understood. Now let me tell you one more thing related to this only. Let's tell me this thing. So now here when I am creating this class, this object F2, I am not giving any argument here, numerator or denominator. So I am getting the default argument, numerator 0, denominator 1. Now again I am creating another object F3 from the same class fraction, and inside this time I am giving only one argument. Although I am required to pass two argument, but see, I am required to pass two argument, numerator and denominator, but I am passing only one argument. So what will happen in this case? One argument, it will take what I am supplying, and the other argument, this denominator argument, it will take the default value. So let's run it and let's check this thing. Let's check. See, numerator value is taking because the first numerator is coming. So it is taking the 3 as the numerator value, and denominator value I have not given. So it is taking the default value. See here, default value of numerator I have given as denominator as 1. So it is taking 1 as the default value. Fine. Now,
Fine.
you can also reverse this thing. Let's say, since if you are supplying only one value, so it will take that first value as the numerator, and the second value it will take the default value if you will not give the second value in this case. And when you are checking, you can also see from this here. Now we have understood this thing. Now let's move to a next thing in the fraction only. Now I have explained you, my purpose is to, I want to print the fraction. Let's say if I shall give 2,3 to my object, it shall print the fraction 2/3. So that was my main purpose. So these things are just for the understanding. Now let's create another class. Let's take this class only. Let's copy this. This is advancement of this class only. See, now again I am creating this fraction class. All these things are fine inside this class. So this is the init, def underscore init, self, numerator and denominator. What it means? If I will not supply any numerator and denominator value, it will take the default value present here. Now this is the init method or init function inside this class. I want to define one more function You can also call it a function, or you can call it a method. So what are the function that is present inside any class is called basically methods. So you can define different methods inside any class. So I am defining one method here called I want to actually print we have already understood this method thing in the previous session. Let me remind you. Let me take you see here. I have created one student class and one init method was there, and one print student method was there inside this class. So we already, and this is called method. This is called init method, or this is called print student method. So this is a class, and these are the methods. You can create as many methods as you want inside any class. So this was that only. There's nothing new in that. So here I want to create one method. Let's call this method print print fraction. I'm giving the name of this method as print fraction. Print fraction. This is the name of my method. Fine. And you need to pass self here. Then and only it will, if you will not pass self here, it will not take, because whatever object attribute that I will define inside my object table, it will get connected with this init. That's why the value that is present inside this init, if you need to access it, you have to pass this self inside this also. So I'm giving this self here. Now, after that, I want to print. What I want to print? I want to print numerator, and thereafter this thing, and thereafter I want to print denominator. And fine. Numerator by denominator, that I actually want to print. That is my purpose. I want to print the numerator. Let's understand this. I want to print numerator by denominator. So that's I am writing here, print num, thereafter print this thing, this symbol, and thereafter print then. I am writing this thing inside this print here. But see, if I will simply write num and if I will simply write then, it will not work, because the value that it is taking, this is an attribute, numerator and denominator is the attribute, and it is associated with the init class, so init function. To access that num and then here, we need to write it like this, self dot num, and then this symbol, and then you have to write self dot then. If you will write it, then this value of numerator and this value of denominator will be assessed here, otherwise it will throw you an error. Fine. So let's check this thing. Let's check this thing. Let's first run this and see what happens. You will get an error and then we will work it out. Let's just run this. Let's just run this. It will run fine. Now, if if I want to create this, let's say I want to create one fraction, 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 I'm passing this value numerator 2 comma denominator 3, and if I will run this, let's run this, and f dot print fraction. If I will do this, if I run it, let's see what happens. It is giving me an error. Why it is giving me an error, and what is my error? I have written this. I have created one object of this class. It is fine till here. When I am trying to access this print fraction, this method, this print fraction method inside this class, it is throwing me an error. Why it is throwing me an error? Because it is saying name num is not defined. We have not defined this num. Because either you have to define this num, but the num that I am supplying here, I want to access it here, then I have to write self.num. So let's modify this. Let me modify this. This I have done just for your understanding. Let's modify this and write self.num here, self.num, and same here, write self.den. Fine. Now, if you run it, and again, let's create the same object here. Create the same object, and again, let's try to access this print fraction from here. This time, same thing I have done, f dot print fraction. So f is an object of this fraction class, and I want to access this method inside this class. This method is print fraction method inside this class. So I have to do f dot print fraction, and let's run it. I am getting 2 by 3 here. Can you see this 2 by 3 here? I am getting this thing 2 by 3.
Yes. Yes.
Because this time I am not getting any error. I am getting the right value 2 by 3. Fine. So we have understood here till here. Now, this is how you can print any fraction value like this in the class. That was my one first purpose. You can create as many, let's create another object from here. Let's create O2 as an object. Let's create, and let's pass some other value. Let's create 15 comma 5. Fine. And let's do O2 dot print fraction, and let's see what I am getting. I am getting 15 by 5. I am getting this 15 by 5. Fine. See, but I want something different. What I want? See here, one thing that, one problem here is that, let's say if I pass, let's first understand this. What is the problem inside this? Let's say inside this fraction class, if I will pass numerator value is equal to 0 and denominator is equal to, let's say some value, let's say 15. So what it will give me? Tell me, Ruchi. Ruchi,
Yes.
if I am supplying here the numerator value 0 and denominator value 15, what shall I get?
We should get error.
Why should I get error? Today you are not here. Today you are in the market because you have not done your shopping.
No, not that one.
See,
I thought that numerator should not be 0.
numerator
We
should
have
not be 0. Why? See here, whatever value that I am supplying here, I am getting, na. Let's say I am giving here 2 comma 3, so I am getting 2 by 3. I am giving here 15 by 5, so I am getting 15 by 5. So here, if I will give numerator 0 and denominator 0, I will get like this, 0 by 15.
okay.
Simple. But do you not think that this is a something weird? 0 by 15? It doesn't make any sense to get 0 by
Yeah,
15
that's what
because
I'm saying.
it is ultimately 0. If your
Yeah.
numerator value is 0, so it is 0. So it is
Hmm.
weird to write like this 0 by 15. That I am saying. And let's say if you will get, if I am giving here, let's take another example. If I am giving here, numerator is equal to, let's say, 7 and denominator is equal to, let's say, 1. What shall you get? Mr. Misra sir?
We get 7 only. 7 by 1 will be
You
7 only.
you get 7 by 1.
7 by 1.
But this is also a weird thing.
It will give 7 only. It will not make it better.
It should give 7, but as per my program that I have written here, it will give me 7 by 1. And here in this case, I will get 0 by 15. This is also weird. And this is also weird. Because 7 itself means 7 by 1. We do not need to write 7 by 1. Fine. And 0 means if numerator is 0, you don't need to write, you simply write 0. So I want to correct this thing inside my logic. So I want to make my logic more better by considering these two cases. So let's write the logic. Let's make a simple some changes inside my logic and write it again. So what is the thing that I want to write here? Let's changes that I want to make inside my logic. Let's make that changes. See, everything is fine till this here. I have to make some changes inside my print fraction here. So what is the first thing that I want to do? I want to consider this 0 issues here first. Let's say I am writing a simple logic. If self dot num is equal to 0, let's say if self dot num is equal to 0, if self dot num is equal to 0, in that case, that what I mean to say, if my numerator is 0, then simply print 0. Simply print 0. You don't need to do anything else. Is it okay for you? Second logic that I want to write here, write elif, and this time what I am writing, self dot den is equal to 1, write 1 here. If self dot denominator is equal to 1, that means if denominator is equal to 1, in that case, I want to print self dot num. And My last case is else case. Else, take this case. Fine. Tell me, have you understood this code or not? Or shall I explain it once? This is a simple thing that I have done. Tell me, Ruchi and Misra sir, please tell me.
Yeah, understood.
Misra sir, have you understood this?
Yeah.
So what you have understood inside this? Can you explain? If you are able to explain, then I understand that you guys have understand. Otherwise, I will explain it once again. Choice is yours. Either you explain or me explain. Nisa sir, simply what I have done nothing new here. The thing that I have explained you, let's say if I am giving the numerator value, let's say 0. If I am giving, let's say numerator is equal to 0 and denominator, let's say any value, denominator, let's say 5. So this shall give me what? 0 by 5. And this is something weird. So I want to rule out this thing. So that's what I am asking. If self.num is equal to 0, that means if my numerator is equal to 0, simply print 0. Because ultimately it is 0, na?
Yeah.
So instead of writing 0 by 5, let's simply write 0 here. Simply print 0. Second case was, if my numerator is, let's say something, let's say 15, and my denominator is, let's say 1. So what it will give me? It will give me 15 by 1. So this is also weird. 15 by 1 is nothing but 15. That means numerator by 1 is nothing, numerator. So that's what I am writing here. If self dot then means if denominator is 1, simply give me self dot num. Simply give me this numerator. That's what I was writing here. And my third case is the simple that we have already understood. So there is no point in explaining that. So have you now? Is it clear now?
Yes.
So now let's run this code. This is a very simple code. Let's run it. Run this. And now this time, let's create an object of this class, this fraction class. Let's create an object for a fraction class and supply some value. Let's supply the numerator first. Give numerator is equal to, I am giving 2 comma 1 and see what is happening. If you will give, you will get. And let's access this f dot print fraction and see what happens. This time you will get true. You will not get 2 by 1. Earlier we were getting this. If you would have given this thing here, you will have get that, but here you will not get that. You will only get true. Similarly, if you will create any other class, any other object, let's say f1 object, if you will create any other object and object of this fraction class, if you will create any other object of this fraction class, and if you will supply some, let's say if you supply denominator 0, sorry, not denominator 0, numerator 0. Let's write numerator 0 and denominator, let's write anything else, 56. So you will get 0. If you will run it,
But
f1.
when I'm doing f dot underscore dig dot underscore, I'm getting num 2 and then 1.
Let me do it, then I will clear it out. So let me see what you are getting. Tell me what you are telling, Ruchi.
When I am doing this f dot underscore dig dot underscore, I'm getting num 2 and then 1.
हाँ तो that is that you will get ना, that
Because
you
it's a
will get.
part of the first half code.
See, so you are giving 2 as a numerator and 1 as a denominator, so you will get na 2. Here 2 means what? 2 by 1 means what this 2 means. If I will write, if I will also write here f dot underscore underscore dict, I will get this thing. Let's do it. Numerator I will get 2 and denominator I will get 1, because actually the numerator is 2 and denominator. What you mean by this? Can you, this is a simple mathematics, this is nothing. When I will write anything,
When we
when
are
I am
applying.
write anything, let's say I have written 7, it simply means 7 by 1. But in the common mathematical, so it is understood that 1 is here. If something is not, if I am writing any number, let's say 33, so it is understood that denominator is 1, denominator is equal to 1, and numerator is equal to this thing 33. So it is giving you numerator is equal to 2 and denominator is equal to 1. Denominator is always 1. Have you got? Fine. Now,
I was saying that when this function we are, when this particular thing we are applying, this will giving us the same result that it was giving us earlier when the code was something else, when the function was something else. It means it is taking up the first part of our function, that was dic underscore underscore init function.
no,
This
no,
dic one,
no, no,
or
no,
this is applying to the whole function.
no, 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 no. Earlier thing was
I'm
very
not
different.
using this.
Let's understand this. See here. See here. Let's make it more clear. Let's take this. Let's take this. You are getting wrong. Both are not same. You will get a different result in both cases. See here. Let me explain it. Let me write the code here and see. Let's take this. What you were telling.
I am telling this
Tell
that
me.
earlier
See,
we are doing this
earlier
one, this
earlier this was my class.
code. This was in the class, and
This was a
these
thing.
both functions, these both functions, and now we have extended the second function and we have included few more conditions in it.
Fine.
Even though this dic thing that we are using is only applicable to the upper part of this def underscore underscore init function. Is it so that I'm getting this much, that
No, no,
this
no.
code is
See,
applying only up to of the first part, not in the second part. So
see,
whatever numerator
they,
denominator we write, we
see, you are confusing. Actually, you are getting confused. See, let me explain you. This is a different class. This is a different class. I have made a changes in this class. So this is a different class. This is, let's understand by this way. Please tell me what is actually I am not getting what you are trying to ask, because you are, see,
I'm trying to ask that this this thing that we are applying कि हमें ये
you can tell
find
me in
out
Hindi,
करना
no issue. हिंदी में आप
है,
बताओ.
हमें ये फाइंड आउट करना है कि हमारे एट्रीब्यूट्स क्या है, तो ये फंक्शन जो है वो सेम रहेगा इवन दो वी अप्लाई two things in the same class, or we apply three things in the same class, it will reverse at the same thing, whatever we will give it to it.
Yes, attributes same रहेगा.
हाँ, that's why the attribute same दे रहा है हमें 2 और 1, even though we have changed the function.
हाँ, एट्रीब्यूट अभी एट्रीब्यूट्स 2 and 1 दे रहा है ना. मैं ये कह रहा हूं आप यहाँ पे एट्रीब्यूट्स को चेंज करोगे तो ये चेंज वैल्यू चेंज हो जाएगा. आप यहाँ सॉरी आप ये एट्रीब्यूट्स का वैल्यू कुछ और दे दो यहाँ पे. फाइन. लेट्स टेक दिस लाइक सी है. एक आप मान लो मैं एक F5 एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाता हूं, है ना, और उसको मैं कुछ अलग एट्रीब्यूट देता हूं. लेट्स गिव एट्रीब्यूट 100, 500. ठीक है. एंड इसको रन करता हूं एंड अब मैं चेक करता हूं F5 डॉट डिक्ट. क्या मेरे को मिल रहा है एट्रीब्यूट? न्यूमरेटर 100, डिनोमिनेटर 500. ये मैं जो सप्लाई कर रहा हूं, मैं यहाँ जो प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूं न्यूमरेटर 100, डिनोमिनेटर 500, वो चीज मुझे याद दिखा रहा है. आप इस पे मत जाओ.
Okay, got it.
2,1 तो मैंने उस केस में भी यूज कर लिया, इस केस में भी यूज किया. डेट वाज अ डिफरेंट केस, दिस इज अ डिफरेंट केस. इसका उससे लेना देना नहीं है. इफ यू विल वॉट एवर वैल्यू यू विल चेंज हियर, दैट इज गेटिंग. मैंने बस आपको ये बताया था कि जहां पे मैं कुछ भी नहीं दूंगा, let's create one more class object here. Let's create one more object here, and I'm not going to give. So if you have understood this, then let's delete this. Let's create one more object here, F6. Fine. Of the same class, fraction class. And here I'm not giving any I'm not giving any argument here. Let's create it. And if you check, you are getting numerator 0, denominator 1, because it is a default value. Numerator 0, denominator 1, what I have given in the init function that it is taking. If you will not give any value. Let's create another object also, F7, of same class, fraction class. Fine. And let's give some value. This time let's give 65 simply. And let's run this. And again check F7 dot underscore dict underscore. This time you can see, since I have given only numerator, so it is taking 65 as a numerator, and denominator I have not given it, so denominator it is taking a default value of 1. This thing. Have you got it? Please answer. So see. So now let's understand. So we have everything is clear till here, Ruchi? You got disconnected in between, I suppose.
Yeah.
So is everything clear to you? Clear? Have you understood?
Yeah.
Fine. Now, the next thing is that the fraction that I am giving as an argument, as an object, the value of this fraction, let's see, the value of this fraction that I am giving it as an argument, when I am, let's say, F5, and let's say F5 dot, what I want to print this fraction, see here, I want to print this fraction that I have given. I was getting 100 by 500, but I don't want this. I am getting 100 by 500 or whatever fraction I am giving, it is giving me the exact value of that. Let's say here in this case, it is giving 100 by 500. But I want this simplified value. That is, if you will divide this, you will get actually 1 by 5. Or let's say if you give any other value, let's say you are giving 50 by, let's say, 15. So in that case, what is the simplified value of this? 10 by 3. So I want this simplified value, that is the lowest form of value of numerator and denominator. I do not want this whole value like this. I want the simplified value of this numerator and denominator after getting the lowest divided by the lowest common divisor that I want. So I need to write the code for that. So what I have to do? I had to make few changes inside this class, this fraction class. So what are the changes that I need to do inside this class? So let's first copy this class, because these things will remain same. These things will remain same. Now, what are the changes that I need to do? For I have to write one more method inside this class. This method was simply printing the number, but it was printing the exact value of numerator and denominator. It is not making a simplification. It is not simplifying the value of numerator and denominator and giving me the print statement. But I want the simplified value of numerator and denominator. For that, what I need to do? I need to write one more fraction. So one more method. So let's give the name of this method simplify. I am giving it the name of this method simplify, and write self inside this method. Now, fine. This is my method simplify. Now, there is a simple maths here. First, let's understand what is the math behind it. The code is very simple, but only you need to understand the math. So when you need to simplify any fraction, let's say this is one fraction 50 and this is one fraction, let's say 15. And if you want to simplify it, what you will do? Mr. Sankar sir, can you tell me, if I want to make a simplification of this fraction 50 by 15, what shall I need to do?
We need to divide both of them with the common multiple.
Fine. We need to divide both by the common multiple. So here in this case, 5 is the common multiple. So I will divide it by 5 into 3, and 5 ones are 0, 5. So I will get 10 by 3. Basically, what it means, to convert any fraction into the simpler fraction, you need to take the highest common factor, HCF, or LCM you will take. You will take HCF. HCF, highest common factor. So in this 15 and 50, 5 was the highest common factor. 5 was the HCF of 15 and 50. This is the only highest value which will divide both these. That's why I have taken this and divided it. So I got this 10 by 5. So same thing, I am going to write it in the form of a code, so that whatever fraction I will give, I shall get the simplified value of this fraction with the help of this method, which I am going to define inside this class, called simplify method. So let's understand this. This is a very simple. Let me write this. So first thing that I want to do, so I have to take the minimum value between, from the numerator and denominator. If you want to divide, first you have to see what is the minimum. Either the numerator is minimum less, or denominator is minimum. So first you need to check the smaller value or minimum value in between numerator and denominator. So by using this min function, you know this function mean. I am trying to calculate what is the minimum value in between the numerator and denominator. Let's say I will get the minimum value. So either numerator will be minimum or denominator will be minimum. So I will get whatever will be the minimum value. I am going to save that minimum value inside my variable, let's say current. Whatever minimum value of numerator or denominator in between numerator and denominator I will get, I am going to save that minimum value inside this numerator. As in this case, in the example that we have discussed, let's see in the example that we have discussed, what we have discussed. Just now we have discussed this 50 by 15. So if I will call the minimum of 50 by 15, what I will get? Tell me what I will get. Ruchi. Okay, fine. I will get 15 here.
10.
Fine.
15.
50 comma 15, I will get 15, the minimum value. Fine. So
Fine.
I will get this 15 as the minimum value between 50 comma 15. Oof. Now the second thing that needs to be understood here is that, let's say this 15 is the minimum value that I got. Then what I need to do? I need to check from 1 or greater than 1. 1 is the from greater than 1 till 15. I need to check any value from 1 till 15. If it will divide both 15 and 50, then I have to what? I have to divide it by that value. So I will be dividing by the, since I want to calculate the highest divisor. So I will start from 15 only, and I will move in a decreasing way. First I will take 15. Let's say here, take 15. Can 15 divide both? No. Then take 14. Then take 13. Then take 12. Then take 11. Then take 10. Can 10 divide? No. 9. Then 8. Then 7. Then 6. Then 5. If you will see from here, these values are not going to divide both the values exactly. So I'm coming backward. I'm decreasing by one value every time. And when I will come to 5, I will see this 5 is going to divide it exactly. Fine. So I will consider this. So same thing I'm going to write it in my code. So let's write this same thing in the form, convert the same logic in the form of code. Nothing new in this. So this is the current. So we will get current. How will we get? By minimum of these two values. Then do while while current is greater than 1. Let's say if current is greater than 1, while current is greater than 1, if self dot num divided by, or this is, if it num divided by this current value, if it gives me the remainder, 0, and self dot then f not and self dot then divided by current is equal to 0. What I mean to say, let's say till current value is greater than 1, if numerator divided by the current value is 0 and the denominator divided by the current value is 0, that means both, if the numerator and denominator both the value will be 0, then in that case what I need to do, I need to break this loop. Otherwise, if it is not, then in that case I need to do current is equal to current minus 1. And what I need to do, self dot num is equal to self dot num, and this thing, sorry, current and self dot then is equal to self dot then current. If I will write this, then my code is now complete. Code, how this is working and how this is all happening. So everything is same, nothing has changed at all. And so there was some mistake from my end, like indentation kind of mistake that I was doing here. That's why it was coming like that. Now let's understand this. First, everything here is same, nothing I have changed here. Only one thing that I have changed is I have made this absolute so that it will take care of the negative value. If let's say in the numerator or denominator, if some negative value is there, so it will convert it into the positive value. So this is also a good approach to use here. Now what I have done, I have simply run this code. Let's run this code. Fine. And I made an object of this fraction class and given this value 25, 125. So this object has been created of this fraction class. Now first I am printing the fraction value, print fraction. So to print the fraction, I am using this method. So there are actually two methods inside this class, or three methods you can say. One is the init method, one is the print fraction method, and third is the simplify method. So first thing in this, I want to print this fraction. So I am calling this method print fraction, and when I am running this, my fraction is getting printed 25 by 125 that I have given here. But I want the simplified form of this fraction. I do not want the value in its original form. I want it in the simplified form. For making a simplification, I'm using this method called simplify method. So I'm calling this simplify method. And here you can see inside this simplified method, I have not given any print statement to print the value, simplified value. That's why I'm not getting any print value here. Only it is doing this work, it is making the simplification. After that, when I'm printing this value, I'm getting exactly what I should get. I'm simply simplifying this thing here. And thereafter, when I'm printing this prints fraction, I'm getting 1/5. Here, why I'm getting this? First, it is getting simplified here by this method. Thereafter, whatever the simplified method is there, value is there, if I want to print it, I am using this print fraction. So let's understand once again how this simplified method is working. First, it is taking the minimum value of this numerator and denominator, and I'm attaching this absolute here just to make sure that I will get the positive value, not the negative value. So whatever be the positive minimum value of this numerator and denominator, it is taking that. Then, and I am saving that value inside this variable, this current variable. After that, I'm attaching a condition while I'm using this while condition, while current is greater than 1. That means my loop will work till the value of the current is greater than 1. When it will become 1, my loop will not work. It is valid only when the value is greater than 1. So I'm checking if self dot numerator percentage, this percent sign means this is called modulo. In terms of in programming, it is called modulo, divided by current is equal to 0. What it means? When I am dividing the numerator by this current value, the minimum value of those two, and if I will get my remainder as 0, and same I am getting the denominator divided by current value, if the denominator, if the remainder is 0, that means I have come to the right point. Now it will break from here. Now my while loop get broken, like that it will come out of the loop, because it had find the value, maximum value, and it will do its work, and then that's all. I'm able to find my current value. That's all I want. But if, let's say, if I have not achieved yet, then what it will do, it will, whatever be the minimum value I will get, it will keep on decreasing that value by 1. So here the current value I will get, current is equal to, minus is equal to means current is equal to current minus 1. It means that this, let's don't confuse here by this thing. It simply means current, simply means current, simply means this, means it is one way current, CURRENT, current minus 1. So it will decrease the current value to 1. Thereafter, it will go to the next iteration. Again, it will check here, is current greater than 1? Yes, it will be greater than. Again, it will check here. If this will become true, then it will come out of the loop. If it will not become true, the current value get decreased by 1 again, and it will keep on decreasing till I will achieve this condition. Finally, what it happen, when it will come out of the while loop, then the final value I will get here as like that, self dot num is equal to num divided by current value. So whatever current value I will get, what it means current value, whatever be the HCF I will get, highest common factor of both these, highest common factor of both numerator and denominator I will get. What I am telling, give me the numerator value as self dot SELF, self dot num divided by current value. This is a absolute division. This is not a modulo division, this is an absolute division. And same I am telling, give me self dot den, that means give me the denominator by self dot den divided by the absolute division by the current value. And this is like this is a numerator and this is a new denominator that I want. So finally what I will get here, I will get the simplified value of numerator and denominator here. And now the numerator and denominator is simplified. Now if I want to print it, if I am again printing it, I am getting the simplified value of numerator and denominator here. You can see this. If I am printing it again, print fraction, I am getting the simplified value of numerator denominator. Save this. So how I am going to save this? Command S. So it got saved. Then go to the source control. Then put a message. Today is the 5th session, na? Today is the 5th.
I've sent it you in the chat box.
Okay, let me check it. Let me first commit it first. So I'm going to commit it. Commit. Yes. Sync changes. Okay. Syncing changes. Commit. Source control. Yes, it's committed. Let me check it in the GitHub. So let me check it in my GitHub. Let's check it in the GitHub. So where is my GitHub repository of this thing? What was the name of my repository? Classes and objects, I suppose. Can you find the repository name? This is the name of my repository. Yes. Today is the 5th session. See. So I have committed. See, everything is present here. Fine.
Done, I've sent it.
Done it? Okay. Yes, share the screen, sir. No. Still you are doing the mistake. Ruchi.
Check the next one. Next one. Check the next one.
Okay.
The new one.
Okay. Let me check it. Okay. Self.num. Everything is fine. Your code is running now. What's the issue?
It's not giving me output. So that's the issue.
For getting the output, you have to you see. We are already discussing this. How you shall get output by running your code is running, but for getting the output, you have to do like this, na? You have to do first. You have to create the object of this class. Have you created the object like this? See my screen. Create the object like this. then you have to do this f dot print fraction, then you have to do f dot simplify, then you have to do again f dot print fraction, then you will see the output, na? Shall I get anything here? Can you see here? Simply my
It's showing me now typing error. It's showing me type error. ABS. It's showing me type error. ABS take exactly one argument. I'm not getting this. Why
okay,
it's
because see what mistake you must have done here. You have to attach the ABS separately, and you have done it. Let me see it in your code. Okay. Okay. See, you have applied this ABS before this complete thing. You have to apply it separately. See it inside my code, and then see. See, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
See, what are the mistake that you are doing in this line? Your code, see your code, and see my code, and see the difference.
Okay. We need to apply it separately.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct
Okay.
it.
Should I run it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
After correcting, run it.
Then again I need to run it, right?
Yes. Again, you need to run it.
Now I'm getting. Now I'm getting.
Oh.
Now I'm getting.
Now you are getting. So that's very nice of you. So you are able to do it. So what next? Shall I stop sharing my screen now?
Yeah.
So that's all for the days. And if you guys are having any issues, doubts, you can put it in the comment section of my video. I will try to clarify the doubts there. And if it is not possible to clarify there, I will take the doubt in the live session. So keep on commenting, keep on sharing your issues, keep on sharing your doubts. That's all for the day. So we will be continuing from whatever thing that we have done till today. We will start from the tomorrow, from the next topic of the same object-oriented programming, and we have not yet completed the fraction. Still something is left. So thereafter we will move step by step. That's all for the day. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.